You'd never think that a family hatchback could ever look as beautiful as a supercar, but somehow Alfa has managed it with the Giulietta.
The styling has been inspired by the Italian firm's 8C Competizione, and no matter which angle you look at it from, front, side or rear, in fact especially the rear, the Giulietta is simply stunning.
Even the key looks stylish, and I like the way you get into the boot, because all you have to do is press that rather desirable badge and then you're in. Thankfully there's some function to go with all that form, because the Giulietta's boot is a similar size to that of far more boxy looking models. Alfa makes some great engines, and no matter whether you go for a diesel or a petrol Giulietta, they all provide a great blend of performance and economy. For instance, in this car I've got a 1.4 litre turbo with 168 brake horsepower, and it will do 0 to 60 in 7.8 seconds, yet return almost 50 miles per gallon. And the fuel saving stop-start system fitted as standard to it is one of the least intrusive systems I've ever used.
In fact, the engine is so good, it's won an award. But that's not all. This Alfa is also a leader when it comes to safety, because it has the highest Euro NCAP crash test score in its class.
As you'd expect, on a twisty road, the Giulietta handles well. It's pretty comfy too, although be warned of the Veloce model because it has sport suspension, which is a bit stiffer. The only problem I have is that the whole experience is spoiled somewhat by something called the DNA system, which allows you to alter the car's throttle response and steering weight using this rather naff looking switch down here. It allows you to choose between 3 different modes: dynamic, normal and all-weather. The only trouble is there's no kind of happy medium between them. For instance, in dynamic mode, the steering feels overly heavy and artificial, but if you go into normal mode, then the throttle response is curtailed. And let's face it, you don't buy a turbocharged Alfa Romeo to kind of limit its performance. The Giulietta has some other annoying quirks too. For instance, these heater vents, they're very flimsy and they look like they've come out of the 80s. And these toggle switches up here, which are very prominent, 1, 2, 3, 4 actually do something, and the 5th one is there to remind you that you couldn't afford the bi-xenon headlamps. Fit and finish isn't great either. I mean, look at this. That's not really very good, is it? And then check this out. If you open the glove box, if you've got a passenger sat there, it's going to chafe their knee. Also for the driver, the centre console rubs against your shin. The side door bins, well, they're only really big enough to hold credit cards. And don't get me started about the stereo Bluetooth or sat-nav system, otherwise I'm going to start to get really very cross. And my rant isn't over there either, because if you jack up the seat, unless you're really small, your head's going to start touching the ceiling. And if you follow me into the back, you'll see life is no better for rear passengers. I mean, look, there's absolutely no headroom. It's as if Alfa is doing their best to put you off this car. But when you get out, look back and see just how beautiful the Giulietta is, as if by magic, all those niggles are suddenly forgotten.